UFC Des Moines. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'm going to be live for the entire card Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. And let's get into the first fight of the night. We got the ladies going after it here. Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrović. I got to pick Ivana Petrović for the W in this matchup. I think she handles business here against Juliana Miller. Miller's got good jiu-jitsu, but her striking is pretty bad. She's clunky on the feet, reaches with her punches a lot. Definitely is tough and has kind of like a throwback women's brawler style. She doesn't have the high caliber wrestling and doesn't have much mobility in the stand up. I think Petrović can outstrike her. I think realistically on the mat, the better wrestler is Petrović, and I can see her controlling Juliana Miller from top position, landing takedowns, throwing a bit of peppering ground and pound. It's not like Miller is some elite caliber jiu-jitsu practitioner. She's got pretty good jiu-jitsu, but dude, she's 3-3 as a pro. And I know she won the Ultimate Fighter. I watched that season. I like Juliana Miller. She's, a tough winner, and I have a special place in my heart for the tough winners, It's just, dude, lost in the last one against Santos. She got busted up, and she's sitting in there and brawling like a maniac, and that's almost 2 years ago. Fight before that, Veronica Hardy handles her. Yes, she's been out for a year and 8 months, but unless she has made some damn near substantial improvements to her game, Petrovic's a hellish matchup. Petrovic's taller. Petrovic's got the longer reach. The close fight with Jamie Lynn Horth, but Horth is a gritty gamer, and Petrović was not completely outdone in that fight. It could have been scored towards her. Na Liang win means jack shit. Luana Carolina loss is okay. Carolina's a tricky kickboxer. I feel like Petrović can beat Juliana Miller more, pro experience. But Miller, to be fair, has got the 2 wins on tough. So, she's really 5-3 as a pro as opposed to 3-3. But back-to-back L's, getting handled in both fights. Questionable fight IQ. Pretty subpar stand-up. I can't reason with myself to go for Juliana Miller. I think she's going to get tuned up pretty much anywhere this fight goes. The only chance for Miller is probably her looking to throw up some type of submission from bottom, armbar attempt. To be real with you, though, if you want me to give you the Mystic Max shit, the only way I see Juliana Miller winning is some strange armbar. She pulls it from bottom and is able to crank out something wild. So that is my, base take on this one. But outside of an armbar, Petrović should be able to handle business. Petrović has fought out of armbars in the past. I think that her jiu-jitsu defensive abilities should be fine with solid enough offensive wrestling. I'll say Petrović at -235, Miller +200. I wouldn't go out betting this one, but I, maybe would consider, if the line's degenerate enough, Juliana Miller sub prop just for the fucking memes, dude. Over 2.5 is -200 here. Ladies fight. Probably going towards the later stages. I feel like Petrović, more of a tactical striker, probably gets the better out of Juliana Miller in kickboxing exchanges. And then Petrović with the threat of the takedown. On top position, I think good control and peppering ground and pound. Expect Miller to try to be very active from bottom position and even potentially going inverted. But I feel like Petrovic's defensive abilities and jits are pretty strong. So give me Petrović to win. I think she's getting it on the judges' scorecards. Unanimous decision. Ivana Petrović takes out the Ultimate Fighter winner, man. Next fight on the card, we got Don'Tale Mayes versus Thomas Petersen. I'm going with none other than Thomas Peter Griffin Petersen to win this one. And I don't love the size disadvantage that he's at by any means, but I also have such a damn hard time picking Don'Tale Mayes. He's just slow and molasses type slow. Like his feet are stuck in the mud. He's got okay enough boxing, I guess. He's a big body, 6'6", 266 pounds. He's a full-size heavyweight. But to be fair, Peterson's pretty heavy as well. The thing with Mayes, he don't really do anything well. He's kind of okay everywhere, I guess. Simply put, Don'Tale Mayes is just okay in most areas of the game. He did get grappled up a bit by Gaziev in the last one out. And I know Gaziev dusted Petersen, but to be fair, before getting dusted with the straight shot, Petersen was kind of touching Gaziev a little on the feet. Like, Thomas Petersen has deceptively good boxing skills. He's a southpaw too. I think he can handle Dontel Mays in this one. I think he hits him with some decent punches on the feet. Expect it to be a solid back and forth. I could see Thomas Petersen hitting some key takedowns in this fight that lean the, side of success and victory to him. I look at Dontel Mays, even though now it was overturned to a no contest because Hamdi Abdullah Wahab was taking the steroids. I'll be real with you, man. Dontel still kind of got outdogged by a gritty, short, stocky wrestler. I feel like Thomas Petersen's okay. I mean, he boxed up, Usman's brother. And I feel like you got to respect W against, a big, heavy-handed guy, even though it's not like Muhammad Usman is super high caliber. Petersen looked nice in that fight. I feel like he's got deceptively good hands. With the wrestling base, I feel like he could time some key takedowns. I feel like it's going to be an awkward-ass heavyweight fight. We got 11-8 Dontel Mays, 9-3 Thomas Petersen. You see what I'm saying, guys? This right here is low caliber. But I like Petersen's hand speed a little better than Dontel Mays's. Mays is going to have that big reach advantage, but it's not like Dontel Mays is like efficient at boxing from the outside. He's not good with his jab. He doesn't, stay away from opponents and, keep that bicycle going and just sting them and pick them apart in a technical kickboxing flow. He's much more of a, he's just going to let the fight happen and he's kind of just going to react in a chaotic manner. And I could see Thomas Petersen stinging him with some big left hands over the top. I think that Dontel is going to fire some shots back, but I feel like Petersen's got a good enough chin. I know you'll say, oh, but he got knocked out by Gaziev. Gaziev hit him with the death touch shot, man. And I'm not going to use MMA math. Well, Dontel Mays went distance with Gaziev, so now he beats Petersen. He got wrestled up by Gaziev, and I'm thinking to myself, I think Thomas Petersen could time some key takedowns, but even if he doesn't want to, and it turns into a strike-heavy fight, I think you're going to see evident hand speed advantage towards Petersen. I'll say this, even though it looks weird, I feel like he's technically superior in the stand-up game. Dontel Mays has a lot of fat on his punches. I feel like he doesn't always set his feet properly, and he's kind of just winging power shots from out of range. And I just don't think he's quick by any sense of the word. He's the essence of not quick. I'd call him a slow striker, man. Slow, plodding striker. Dontel Mays is a big body. And, the size alone could be a factor. If Mays hits you in the face, he's got, I guess, enough weight behind his shots to do damage. But he's a plus 205 underdog. Petersen at minus 240. Petersen opened all the way at minus 350. It's kind of crazy to see this big of a line favoring the side of Petersen. Over is minus 154. I feel like there's a real chance that Thomas Petersen hits Dontel Mays with more significant strikes. They have a relatively back and forth type of matchup. Maybe Petersen lands a couple of takedowns and controls a bit on top. But even if he was unable to, is it crazy to think Dontel Mays is outstruck by Thomas Petersen? I know you're looking at the size difference, 6'6" to 6'1", and it's major, 81-inch reach to 74. I get it. It's just I can't confidently pick Dontel Mays against anybody. A decision win against Kyle Machado, who's not all that good. The win against Andrei Arlovsky, a wash Andrei Arlovsky knockout win. Then he's got losses to Nascimento, who's another chubbier heavyweight. Shamil Gaziev bodied him, and then Walter Walker subbed him up real quick 2 months ago. I feel like Thomas Petersen decision makes the most sense. It's low-level heavyweight MMA, but I feel like Petersen at 9-3, you could argue he's still got more potential than Dontel Mays. I feel like he's gotten better. If you look at his UFC debut against Jamal Pogues and the follow-up against Mo Usman, he looked better. Obviously, against Gaziev, things went south fast, but before getting stung with the perfect shot, I thought he was looking pretty decent on the feet. Hands were moving kind of quick. Peppering shots were there. I'll say Thomas Petersen finds a way to win a close back-and-forth decision, landing a few more significant strikes. I expect it to probably go all rounds, and I think Petersen does enough to get it done in nitty-gritty fashion. But, minus 240 line is pretty terrible for a guy who's 1-2 in the UFC. We'll go Petersen. We'll go Peter Griffin over Dontel Mays. Next fight on the card, Gaston Bolaños versus Quang Lee. Quang Lee for the win. I think he beats Gaston Bolaños. And I got to say, I feel like Quang Lee's loss against Chris Gutierrez aged pretty good. And then, he followed that up with a rough loss with Long Shao, but he had okay moments in the fight. It's not like Quang Lee got completely destroyed in all rounds. Lee's actually a relatively good kickboxer. I would say that he has a, decent stand-up arsenal, a solid left hook, decent takedown threat. Overall, I'd say he's a well-versed up-and-comer. And Bolaños, he's a good striker. He's pretty sharp with his kickboxing, and he's got a nice flow. But my God, he gives up tons of takedowns and positions on the ground. He gets controlled in every fight. Look at the Cortavius Romeo's fight. He got out grappled, but he had bigger moments in the striking, which ended up getting him the win. But I've never watched a Bolaños fight and been like, wow, I'm impressed. Wow, Bolaños look good. Cortavius Romeo's decision, and he's getting outworked in the grappling, but he finds ways back up to his feet. And Romeo's was a non-threat in striking. Quang Lee is definitely a better striker than Cortavius Romeo's, and I don't think it's crazy to assume that Quang Lee can even win some striking exchanges with Bolaños. Fight before that, Marcus McGee absolutely tuned Bolaños up, but that's like a super high-level prospect contender in Marcus McGee, so not really a bad loss. And then even the Aaron Phillips win in the damn debut 2 years ago, I was not impressed. I've never been impressed by Gaston Bolaños. Watching him in Bellator, he seemed like a bit of a busted prospect. He gets to the UFC now, and I'm just not sold on the train of hype whatsoever. I think Quang Lee's a tough customer. He's a high volume attack. He's got good pressure. He's got decent takedowns. He's got that nice left hook that he can check Bolaños with. I have a hard time seeing Bolaños just chopping him up for 3 rounds and out kickboxing the fuck out of him. And I don't think Quang Lee is going to just stand there to be hit. I think things going sideways. Quang Lee going to look to wrestle. And I feel like he's going to hit a few takedowns in this fight. And I think if Quang Lee gets on top, Bolaños could be stuck under him for the, remainder of the round. So if, Quang Lee is getting out kickboxed and then he's able to get the fight to the mat, I mean, you're seeing fights being scored a lot of the time based upon control. Sometimes it's not just damage trumps all. Sometimes effective control is taking these decisions. And I think Quang Lee can do more with the takedown. I think he can be effective getting this fight to the mat. I think in the striking, he could land some left hooks. It's not like Bolaños is unhittable. He's still, he's a good striker, but he's not amazing. I'm not blown away. The hype on his striking is way more than the reality of what I see when he fights. He's good. Bolaños is good. But I think that Quang Lee is more well-versed and a better MMA fighter. And I'm going to go with Quang Lee to get a win in his 3rd UFC fight. I don't think he's getting released going 0-3. I think he beats the overrated Bolaños here. Quang Lee's the underdog. Around plus 135 for Quang Lee. Yeah, give me the dog here. Bolaños at minus 155. At open, he was minus 160. Over 2.5, minus 175. I can't favor a Bolaños giving up positions against Romeo's. And I think Quang Lee is a good amount better than a Cortavius Romeo's. Romeo's has a low fight IQ. He gets good positions, but he's more of a submission over position guy. And that's why he gets reversed a good amount. Whereas Quang Lee, I could see getting on top, being patient from top position, willing to just ride out the round from half guard or even potentially full guard, throwing a bit of pepper in shots. I feel like Lee on a decision is the most likely outcome. It's minus 175 for the over, but I actually like the plus money tag on Quang Lee. I don't think he quits on himself. Both of the guys he's fought are better than Bolaños, right? Like Long Shao and Chris Gutierrez. I would say both are better MMA fighters than Bolaños. Gutierrez, formerly a top 15 fighter, coming off the win over Castaneda, and he looked pretty good against Castaneda. And to be real with you, Quang Lee put up a better fight than Castaneda did, I felt. Even though it was a split decision on the cards, I think that Quang Lee was more effective throughout the entire fight, having some success against Gutierrez. And they do train together as well, Quang Lee and Castaneda. And then Long Shao, I mean, listen, Long Shao's a tough customer. He's a heavy-handed guy. He's well-versed overall. And I think that Bolaños being a one-dimensional striker whose striking is not that crazy, Quang Lee can do some damage on the feet too if it happens. Like, if you sit in there, if you have just boxing between these two, I think Lee can crack. Yes, Bolaños probably snappier kicks, faster with his hips. He's better from long range with striking. But I don't think he's tuning up Quang Lee for 3 rounds. I think Lee's going to look to get in his face, make it a scrap, and I think Quang Lee outdogs Gaston Bolaños and ends up getting a win. So I'm going with Quang Lee for the W, probably on the judges' scorecards in a solid little back and forth. Next fight, ladies going after it, Marina Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson. I'm going to pick Jillian Robertson to win. I think Robertson's going to be pretty concise with takedowns and effective control, trying to work towards a submission too. To be fair, the submission skill set of Jillian Robertson is nice. And what I like about her is her game has progressed. She's not even 30 years old yet. We have seen her skills improve over the years. She's a strong wrestler, grappler with a very real submission threat against Marina Rodriguez, who's a skillful kickboxer with the Muay Thai-esque striking style, good teeps up the center, nice elbows on the inside. Her striking's good, but she's kind of, one-dimensional in essence. She's not defensively sound, and she loses fights with that weakness a lot of times getting exploited. And we got Jillian Robertson, who's got good, consistent wrestling. She can hold top position and secure a lot of control time. She can look to pass and threaten with submissions. I feel like Jillian Robertson is very live to win this fight by a decision or a submission. She's also riding a 3-fight win streak. Polyana Viana, who just got creamed by Amarim, but still a win. Michelle Watterson win, which is actually not bad. And then Luana Pinheiro win for a 1-point Pinheiro at hype. On the opposite side, Marina Rodriguez, the loss to Lucindo. It was a competitive fight. But to be fair, Lucindo's grappling kind of got exploited by Amanda Lemos. Fight before that, Jessica Andrade, competitive striking fight. Andrade likes to sit in there and brawl. Jillian Robertson's going to look to get it to the mat. Win over Michelle Watterson. She fucked Michelle Watterson up, but it was washed Watterson. Verna, really good grappler, dominated her, and Amanda Lemos actually knocked her out. I feel like Jillian Robertson by a decision makes a lot of sense. I expect her to hit some takedowns. Also, Marina Rodriguez is 38 years old, 1 win and 4 losses in her last 5 versus a girl who's 4-1 in her last 5. And Robertson with the Savage nickname. I'm going to pick against that? Absolutely not. And it's not just because of the nickname. It's because I think Jillian is going to be effective in getting this fight to the ground. And Marina Rodriguez has like zero momentum on her side right now, where Robertson's confidence is consistently growing. She's looked a lot better in the past few years. And like the loss is to Tabitha Ritchie, who's very well-versed and has pretty quick hands and a really strong jiu-jitsu base. If you have a strong jiu-jitsu base and you can strike a bit, you can give Jillian Robertson trouble, right? If she can't win that area. Whereas Marina Rodriguez doesn't really have a very good grappling game. She's more so got deadly striking. Her stand-up's legit for sure. But I think Robertson's got decent enough stand-up to at least survive in the striking and then mix in some key takedowns. I don't feel good about Marina Rodriguez defending takedowns for the majority of the fight. And what is she going to do? She's going to knock Jillian Robertson out? Marina Rodriguez is going to rip her with some big shots and put her away. It's not like Rodriguez got crazy power. She's got efficient kickboxing and she's pretty accurate, but doesn't have the thud in her shots. And Marina Rodriguez on the mat, I see her flattened out on her back, not able to get back up to her feet. I think if Robertson gets her down, Rodriguez is staying down. So I'm going to favor the strong grappling over the kickboxing. And the odds are really wide here. Minus 325. Plus 275 for Rodriguez. Yeah, Jillian Robertson is a massive favorite. There's some shit odds on this card. I don't really agree with the width of this line because Marina Rodriguez is a battle-tested OG, and her losses are to some decent girls. But I feel like Jillian Robertson, it's like consistently she's getting closer and closer to cracking into that top 10. And I feel like a win against Marina Rodriguez sets her up for some of the bigger matchups. And I think at 29 years of age, being more so in her prime than the 38-year-old Marina Rodriguez and having a tricky grappling style to go along with it, it should probably be enough to handle business here. So I'm going to say Jillian Robertson over is minus 136. I do think a decision is pretty likely. It's not going to be insane if there was a finish. My mentality is, though, it's not like Marina Rodriguez has awful submission defense. Is more of positional grappling defense. She's never been submitted as a professional fighter, but we've seen her controlled on the mat. I think it's Jillian Robertson embracing the grind with a wrestling heavy game plan. I think she's going to land takedowns and put Rodriguez on her back. I think Rodriguez is going to be frustrated. I think Rodriguez might be signaling into the referee like, oh, stand it up. We've seen Rodriguez get like that. Let me drink a sip of some coffee, guys. Let me drink a sip. It's a lucky sip. We got the mug, the same color as Jillian Robertson hair. You think it wasn't planned? Be honest, it wasn't. I'm going Jillian Robertson unanimous decision. I think she, sends the gatekeeper Marina Rodriguez back a bit, and I think Robertson breaks into the upper echelon, grappling her up. That's what I expect, grappling her up. Next fight on the card: Azamat Bekoev versus Ryan Loder. This is an interesting one. This is. But I do think that Azamat Bekoev wins, dude. I gotta pick Azamat Bekoev, man. He's got a lot more pro MMA experience. Ryan Loder has the good All-American wrestling on paper, but his win over Valentin after the fight against Terence Finney, sorry, I think that it kind of diminished a fair amount. Ryan Loder's strong with his takedowns. He's got solid control. He's got good ground and pound. He's your typical OG wrestler. Actually, reminds me a fuckload of Matt Hamill. Reminds me a fuckload of Matt Hamill. Southpaw striking style, okay on the striking department, but not where he thrives. He's looking to put quick pressure on you, back you up, land takedowns, and get this fight to the mat and do his thing. He's not an awful striker, but he's definitely not a good striker. He does have a decent chin. Now, on the opposite side, Azamat Bekoev has a strong wrestling base as well, but I also feel like he's clearly the more tactical kickboxer. He has, I don't know, kind of like a sniper kickboxing style. It's a bit of a far-fetched comparison, but striking-wise, it looks, the set at least, looks somewhat similar to what you get with like an Abus Magomedov. You can see the Russian boxing influence in the set for Azamat Bekoev. He does like to embrace the smother and grapple a lot. Definitely a tight pressure striking style, though. He blocks shots pretty well. I'd say he's defensively sound. He's disciplined when he strikes. He definitely can kickbox for 3 rounds, and I don't think Ryan Loder is able to outstrike Bekoev. And then the question is, okay, can Ryan Loder grapple up this Russian wrestler? I don't think so. Also, you know, Ryan Loder, he's a little bit taller. He's going to have to shoot a little lower to get the shorter man down in Bekoev. 4-inch reach advantage for Loder, but like I said, striking is not his forte. He doesn't have a stand-up game that really impresses me. He's, you know, survivable in the feet, right? That's his game, survivability, but doesn't thrive. No thrive in the stand-up. I think that Azamat Bekoev could get this fight into boxing range and sting Loder with some big shots. I do think that Azamat Bekoev could even win some grappling exchanges, because we did see Valentin nearly get a rear naked choke on Ryan Loder in round 1. It's not crazy to think that Azamat Bekoev dominates this fight. I'm just trying to think of method of victory. Like, okay, ground and pound against Zach Reese. Zach Reese is jiu-jitsu based, right? It's not like Loder's just going to lay on his back. There's power in the hands, but then there was a lot of decisions, man. The one that stung this Budka one, but to be fair, he was boxing Budka up a bit. He was able to take Budka down, and it's almost 2 years ago. I know it's not really, this win's a stain almost in some ways. It's like, I ask myself, how does he get it done? He's got 8 wins by submission, but hasn't won a fight by submission since what, 2021 against a 3-0 fighter. We've seen him take some L's. Chris Honeycutt, that's a throwback name. Rear naked choke there. I don't know why I'm just not seeing this fight going the distance, though. I'm going to say Azamat Bekoev, maybe a rear naked choke or a ground and pound stoppage. I think he makes Ryan Loder uncomfortable in some positions. Is it ground and pound? Maybe more club and sub. I don't know. The rear naked choke's a threat for me. I know Loder's got that good American wrestling, but something about these, you know, strong American wrestlers is they don't like being in a submissive spot on the mat. What happens if Azamat Bekoev hits a trip and puts Loder on his back? What happens if Azamat Bekoev is able to take the back of Ryan Loder? I'd say Bekoev is more likely to close the show with a choke than, you know, Striker and Robert Valentin is. Bekoev's got a shitload of fights, too. 29 years old with 22 professional fights. Good amount of experience. I got to favor the Russian. I'm going with the OEV for the W over the All-American. I think Ryan Loder's game, but I think he gets outworked here, man. I can't see him just fucking taking down Bekoev and beating him up. I'd be surprised. Ryan Loder embracing the grind for 3 rounds and handling Bekoev, that'd be pretty fucking impressive, and I just don't think that's likely. Looking at the odds, Bekoev is a minus 380 favorite. Another really ugly line. Loder plus 315. I think the odds should be closer. It's another one. Like at open, what do we look at? Around minus 300 range? Minus 225. I agree with more the 2-to-1 odds. I think Bekoev should be a favorite. He also looked awesome in his UFC debut against Reese. Granted, it was short notice. And some of these guys look great on short notice, then shit with a full camp. Fuck the over-unders here. I feel like Azamat Bekoev is live for a finish, though. I could see Bekoev stinging Loder up. I still feel like Loder's not going to respond super well to strikes. Like, he hasn't looked awful in striking in the past, but normally he's going to have an ability to threaten with wrestling. taking that ability of threatening with wrestling away, and let's say it just turns into a kickboxing fight, I think Bekoev is going to hit him with some hard shots and probably finish him. So I'm going to say Bekoev gets either a, club and sub, or maybe like taking the back of Loder and choking him out, or maybe he even rocks him with a big shot and then finishes him off with ground and pound. I'm thinking Bekoev inside distance. I feel like he looks pretty good coming into his own. I know people will say the Budka fight's a stain on his resume, but it was a 5-round fight. He still showed that 5-round cardio, and I think he did enough to win the matchup. It's just, that's the bad look, the Budka one, seeing how Budka's UFC career has gone. But to be fair, I mean, knockout win here, ground and pound here. In his past 2, he seems to have hit a new high. And I'm going to say that Azamat Bekoev beats up Ryan Loder. Another Ultimate Fighter winner going down on this card, it seems like. Next one, featured prelim of the night. Ladies going after it. Yana Santos versus Miesha Tate. I'm going to pick the 38-year-old Miesha Tate to win. I feel like Miesha Tate can secure a takedown. She's been out for a while. It's worrisome. But her wrestling is strong. Her pressure is strong. Her takedowns and control are good. She's positionally very dominant. And I don't know, man. I know this Lauren Murphy loss was bad, but it was at $125. And I think Tate cut too much weight. Fight before that, she still went 5 with Ketlen Vieira. The Marion Renan win means nothing. Recently, a year and 4 months ago, not that recent, she got a quick sub with Julia Avila. Avila's not all that good, but ultimately, I'll say this. It is good to see that Miesha Tate handles a girl who's sus on the ground like that. With Yana Santos, she's coming off a win over Chelsea Chandler, but this is age like shit because Jocelyn Edwards knocked Chelsea Chandler out in the first round yesterday. And then you look at some of the other fights, lost to Hossa, but a competitive enough fight, right? And gave decent striking moments. Holly Holm decision loss, Irene Aldana KO loss, a robbery win against Ketlen Vieira nearly 5 years ago, I guess 4.5 years ago. I feel like Miesha Tate can put Yana Santos on her back, man. It's been a minute since Yana Santos has fought kind of that throwback pressure wrestler that Miesha Tate brings, Miesha Tate is 38, though. You have to worry about the miles catching up to her. But taking a year and 4 months off, I don't know, man. I feel like the body can be refreshed and recovered. She didn't fight in 2024. I think Miesha Tate lands takedowns and wins. I'm never impressed with Yana Santos. Like, she's a tactical kickboxer, and I'd say in a pure striking fight, she probably beats Miesha Tate. But, like, Tate can somehow just find weird punches on the feet. She's pretty aggressive with her hands, even though she's not necessarily a tactical kickboxer or technically sound. She's got, like, that gritty pressure striking where she can use her stand-up to set up takedowns. And I do think Yana Santos gives up a fair amount of takedowns. It's not like Santos is known for great takedown defense either. And wins like Chelsea Chandler, jiu-jitsu fighter, not a wrestler. Ketlen Vieira, I mean, it was a robbery win. Ketlen can kind of do everything okay. She still went distance, I guess. Hossa split. Hossa is just a striker. Holly Holm well-versed. Irene Aldana is just a striker. Like, Yana Santos recently hasn't taken on a hard-nosed wrestler like Miesha Tate. And I don't know, as much as the striking looked okay against Chelsea Chandler, I feel like Miesha Tate can be successful with a wrestling-based game plan, dragging this fight to the ground, controlling from top position, throwing a bit of pepper and ground and pound. I think Miesha Tate pulls out a win. I feel like she wrestle fucks Yana Santos in this one. And I'm going to pick Miesha Tate to turn back the clock at 38 and get a W. I don't know. I feel like she's not done yet. She doesn't look like super washed or anything. Yana Santos is plus 111 as the underdog. Miesha Tate at minus 131. Close money odds for a reason. I've not betting this one. Over 2.5 probably at minus 400. I'd say over 2.5 seems like it's likely to hit. It's not like Yana Santos has big power, and it's not like Miesha Tate has a high chance of subbing Santos up. And, Santos getting stopped by Irene Aldana. Aldana's a ferocious striker. It's like, yeah, you'll see, ground and pound. It's not like she mounts her and just tees off like that, More of the well-versed game. I'm saying Miesha Tate, timing takedowns, landing them, controlling from top position, embracing the grind. I'm expecting wrestle-heavy Miesha Tate by a decision in what could end up being a bit of a snooze fest. But I'm curious to see what Miesha Tate's got left at 38 years of age. Weird prelim card. Let's jump to the main card where things keep getting weirder. Make sure you guys smash the like button if you haven't. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Jeremy Stevens versus Mason Jones. Yes, Jeremy Stevens is back in the UFC after going 1-4 in his last 5 fights. He's coming off of a loss in the PFL, but he is on a 3-fight win streak in bare knuckle fighting. But doing bare knuckle boxing doesn't translate to winning against a young Mason Jones who's on his second UFC run and is on a 4-fight tear right now. Mason Jones is a bit of a brawler. He likes to sit in the pocket and exchange hard punches. He's actually pretty dangerous with his hands. He can rip some shots with power, and his willingness to brawl. I mean, you could say, oh, it gets him caught, but I do feel like Jeremy Stevens' best moments in MMA were at 145 pounds. At 155, I always feel like he was not the same. His pop wasn't the same. His level of effectiveness just wasn't the same, man. And I think that Mason Jones can win a back and forth brawl type fight. I think Mason Jones could drag this fight to the ground. Jeremy Stevens in recent MMA fights has definitely not looked good when things have gotten to the mat. I think he's got a weakness in grappling, but doing just BKFC and pro boxing, I'm thinking to myself, is the grappling gonna look any better? Like, he hasn't been having people shoot on him in fights. And if Mason Jones decides to tie up with him and drag him to the mat, I think he's gonna find success. I know Mason Jones likes to strike though, but I don't think he's outgunned completely in stand-up either. Mason Jones is a tough customer. He sits in the pocket and mixes it up. And like, when you really think about Mason Jones's first UFC run, it wasn't that bad. I mean, you look, okay, fight against Mike Davis, he loses. Mike Davis, especially at the time, was nasty. And then you look, a win over David Onama, who's now probably in the top 15 of the damn featherweight division. Then he lost to Ludovic Klein, who's now fighting against Mateusz Gamrot. So like, Mason Jones, looking at it now, really not a bad first UFC run. Since then, he's put together 4 straight wins. He's finished 3 out of his last 4 fights, and in all those fights, he's doing damage. Against Pagani last time, he hit him with some thudding shots. I think Mason Jones can beat Jeremy Stevens. I feel like he's live for a ground and pound stoppage. Depends on what Stevens' chin looks like, but I do think Stevens can get put in bad spots on the mat. Could be a back and forth brawl and Jones takes it on the cards. That wouldn't shock me. I could see 29-28 Stevens maybe landing one big shot and stealing around, but Mason Jones like winning the brawl and outworking Stevens. I have to favor the younger guy though. The betting lines will make you want to play Jeremy Stevens. Of course, the betting lines will make you want to go for him because he's sitting at what, plus 415? Should Mason Jones really be a minus 530 favorite here? Not really. I do think the fight probably goes over a round and a half at minus 220, but I don't think minus 530 is a justified tag for Jones. Even though Jeremy Stevens hasn't done MMA in a while, the dude's got a shitload of MMA fights. What, 50 pro MMA fights, dude? Holy hell. And this is going to be his 51st. He's deciding to fly out to Des Moines for, a little hometown finale type shit. This is a one-off contract for him too, whereas Mason Jones has been brought back to the UFC as a prospect that they were interested enough to re-sign after getting released from the UFC, back in 2022. I feel like Mason Jones in a brawl wins. I actually think this could be a pretty entertaining fight with Jones willing to brawl, but I really got to say, if Mason Jones decides to mix in takedowns, I think he finds success. I think he can outmuscle and outwork an older Jeremy Stevens and win from top position, landing some ground and pound shots. But if they get into the striking, I do think Jones could crack Stevens with some big ones. I think Stevens is going to look to throw bombs, but I don't know, man. We're not in bare knuckle anymore. We're wearing the gloves, okay? So the thud is a little bit less. The chances of a doctor stoppage is a lot less. And I feel like Mason Jones at 30 years old has entered his prime. And I'm going to favor the momentum. Well-versed talent. Mason Jones is a good prospect. He's, fought tough opposition in his first UFC run. Took some time out, right? I think that you see it. Like, with guys getting released from the UFC, sometimes it's the best thing for them because they get released from the octagon and then they, come back with a more fine-tuned skill set. And I think we're going to see a fine-tuned Mason Jones defeat a Jeremy Stevens that isn't doing MMA anymore. He's doing bare-knuckle boxing and regular boxing. He's just here for a one-off. And it's not like he had great success in PFL. His win in PFL was a split decision against an 11-8 Miles Price. He took a loss to Clay Collard, and he also got subbed up by Natan Schultz. Schultz, a good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu style grappler, though, to be fair. So, a little bit of a different matchup, but I expect Mason Jones to beat Jeremy Stevens, and I think he outdogs him. I think he could take him down. I think if it turns into a back and forth brawl, Mason Jones could end up looking pretty good, looking a little quicker. And I think prime is everything, man. Jeremy Stevens is at the end of the run, and say that like I feel like the better option for him is don't do MMA fights, right? Don't get kicked in the legs. Don't get taken down and have to grapple. Doing the straight hands fighting in BKFC, there's like a later period in your career where you can still thrive because the last thing to go is that power. But every skill set mixed in, I'll say Mason Jones outworks him. I'm going to go Mason Jones for the W. I could see a ground and pound stoppage or a KO, but it wouldn't be shocking to me if Jeremy Stevens' toughness, especially, fighting in Iowa, keeps him in it to go 3 hard. And they have a fun back and forth. Definitely potential for a fight of the night here, but I'm going to favor Mason Jones to win as opposed to Jeremy Stevens taking a one-off UFC deal. Next fight on the card, prospect battle. We got Cameron Smotherman versus Serhiy. I'm going to go with Serhiy by decision. I think he's too tactical and he's pretty sound in kickboxing. He's a sharp striker. And I know the last two, like he had the controversial loss here and then the controversial win here. But Sidey's striking sharp, man. He's dangerous with his shots from the outside. He's got good teeps up the center. He's got nasty body kicks. I'd say he's pretty well versed. Even has a bit of a tricky submission game with that wiry frame. Smotherman made a hell of a short notice debut against Jake Hadley, but I want to give some warning, some fair warning. Short notice fight for Jake Hadley. He was initially scheduled to take on more of a grappling specialist. Then he takes on a heavy-handed boxing style in Cameron Smotherman. You could see that like he wasn't sharp enough for that boxing back and forth. And that's why Smotherman was able to fucking dominate Hadley and end up getting Hadley released from the damn UFC. I think Sidey can sting Smotherman with some big shots. We saw Smotherman badly knocked out by Charalampos Gregorio almost 2 years ago, and Gregorio turned out to be pretty bad. Granted, you could say, oh, it was a fluky shot, whatever. But Smotherman has had moments of lapse in MMA fights. Mando Gutierrez was wrestling him up. The Ryan Coos fight was a competitive decision. He then beat 4-6 Mandala, who's now 4-9. And then you look, it's like, okay, he beats Jake Hadley. So yes, great performance against a former flyweight in Jake Hadley, but now taking on a sharp kickboxing prospect in Serhiy, who's in his prime. I don't know, man. I just feel like he's entering a new gear. I feel like Sidey's going to look good. I feel like we've yet to see the best of what Sidey can do, man. Good striking flow, well-versed MMA game, picks his shots well from the outside. I will say I like the way Smotherman closes the distance to bang and he rips big hooks on the inside with power. But I will say he does kind of like dip forward and lacking head movement as he looks to close the gap. And I can see straight shots being effective here for Serhiy, especially those teeps down the center. They can be sharp strikes to keep Smotherman at bay. And I think we got a pretty good back and forth striking type fight, but maybe they end up surprising us and going to the mat and Sidey showcases some jiu-jitsu. But I'm going to say Serhiy has more tools in the stand-up, enough so to do enough damage and probably beat Smotherman. But it's another fight I can see going all 3 rounds. I could see a lot of decisions on this card. This card might go all night long because we might be in decision palooza. I hope that we get more finishes than I'm anticipating, but I'm thinking we might be seeing decisions galore. -140 for Sidey. Plus 120 for Smotherman. I do think Sidey's going to win this fight with cleaner kickboxing. Yes, Smotherman has got pretty dangerous boxing, but I feel like his level of striking is going to be slightly overblown for a win on short notice against Jake Hadley. And I want to double check. Who was Jake Hadley scheduled to fight? Hadley was supposed to fight against Brady Heastan, who is bringing a pressure-based wrestling style game. Little striking, but pressure-based wrestling. So to me, I think about it. I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't know. It's like you caught him at the right time, right? And Smotherman was the bigger guy too. He had the 2-inch height advantage and isn't the flyweight. He's not making 125 where Hadley was a fucking flyweight leading into it. Serhiy, a full-size bantamweight, 5'11", 72-inch reach, 3-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height edge, good striking from the outside, definitely long legs on him too. I'll say Serhiy In a competitive back and forth striking type fight, City's able to do more damage and beat Smotherman. I could see him knocking him down with a straight shot too, but worst comes to worst, I think City survives some of Smotherman's blitzes because he does have good fast twitch blitzes and he rips big hooks on the inside. But I think City's pretty sound. I think City stings him with straight shots, and I think City out kickboxes him. I'll say he'll get it done. Probably a decision or a Darce choke. Kind of just two wild ass method of victory outcomes as possibilities. Next fight on the card, Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. I think things start to make a lot more sense here. They do. I'm going to pick Montel Jackson. I think Montel Jackson gives Daniel Marcos his first loss as a pro. Marcos 17-0, but close win over Adrian Yanez last time. Beat up a John Castaneda, but just how good is Castaneda? And then he's got that no contest with a Richie Long. Split decision against Davey Grant that could have went the other way. And then a Simon Oliveira finish, and Oliveira is just not good at all. Looking at Montel Jackson, he's a long southpaw. He's got a 75.5-inch reach, which is crazy at 135. He's going to be coming in with a 6.5-inch reach advantage in this fight. He's 3 inches taller. He's faster with his hands, and he has a good wrestling base too, man. The wrestling base makes it interesting because I could see him backing Daniel Marcos up against the cage and controlling a bit, maybe threatening with the takedown, but he don't really have to because Montel Jackson can strike. Montel Jackson can throw some hands. He dropped Julio Arce, who's a good kickboxer, knocked out Rani Yaya, finished Damon Blackshear in 18 seconds. Montel Jackson's nasty. He's precise as hell with his straight left down the center. He's explosive with his hands. He moves pretty well from the outside. The only flaw in his game, I'd say, there is a vulnerability to low kicks. He has a very wide stance, but because he's a southpaw, and he's running into a Marcos who's normally fighting from orthodox, I'm not thinking that the calf kick is going to be much of an effective technique. If Marcos was traditionally a southpaw, I could say, with Montel's wide stance, I could see Marcos chopping at the legs a bit. But from orthodox to southpaw, throwing those calf kicks is a lot harder. He's going to have to use the lead leg, which could leave him open to straight shots. And I think that Montel Jackson can sting Marcos with some decent punches, man. Marcos is good, though. He's got nice teeps. He moves pretty well. I just think Montel Jackson's a lot better with his boxing. He's a lot faster with his hands. He's got a stinging jab with a nasty straight left that follows it. He's got strong wrestling and cage control. If he needs to, he can embrace the grind. I could see Daniel Marcos stung. I don't know how Marcos' chin is, man. You have to assume it's good at 17-0, but Montel Jackson can definitely hit with some thunderous power, man. And he's fighting a Daniel Marcos who likes to use his legs a lot. And using the legs like Marcos does against a guy that's going to have a 3-inch height advantage and a 6.5-inch reach advantage, there is going to be an opportunity for Jackson to catch Marcos with punches as Marcos is looking to throw those teep kicks down the center. So I could see Montel Jackson putting Marcos on his back and then Montel Jackson on top of him. I have a hard time seeing Daniel Marcos shaking him off. Could we see a Montel Jackson KO? Maybe. That's a big call. Montel Jackson KO over a Daniel Marcos who's yet to be put out. We've seen Marcos tested a bit, but he hasn't fought this level, man. Shit, bro. We got 8 KOs for him. I'm just trying to sell myself on the knockout here. Does he get him out of there? As of late, Jackson's been looking more and more dangerous. Daniel Marcos on the other side. He's got 8 KOs himself, but in the UFC, he's been a decision king. And I don't think he's winning a decision against Montel Jackson. I have a hard time seeing him putting Jackson's lights out. He's not going to submit him. So how's he going to beat Montel Jackson? It's more, does he survive? For me, the tricky part of this one is calling a method of victory. Because I think Montel Jackson has the power to hurt Marcos, but I don't know if Marcos' chin is legendary or not. Because if Jackson stings him with a big shot and then gets on top, it could be big ground and pound. I could see like a flash knockdown and then Jackson ended up in top position and just riding him till the end of the round. I'll lean towards Montel by a decision, but a knockout's not crazy. I'm curious what the knockout prop is going to be because Jackson's got the promise with that left hand. And I feel like Marcos throwing a lot of those kicks is going to leave openings to straights. Minus 220 for Montel Jackson. Plus 185 Marcos. I think Montel's got a good chance. Minus 175 for the over. Fuck the over-under. Jackson got a chance for the KO. At minus 220, though, he's really, parlay piece zone. I think Montel Jackson is faster with his punches, lands bigger shots, stings up Daniel Marcos. He might knock Marcos out, man. He really might. Montel Jackson could do it. He's well-versed. He's been in the UFC forever. He's 14-2, but like a shitload of UFC fights. Montel Jackson's UFC record is what? 8-2 in the UFC versus, 4-0 and 1 no contest in the UFC for Marcos. And, the wins, like I respect the Davey Grant W, but it was a close split decision that people felt could have went the other way. And beating John Castaneda's okay, but it's Castaneda. Beating Adrian Yanez on a split decision, it's Adrian Yanez. He's a flawed brawler. Now he's taking on the best MMA fighter he has ever fought in his life, man. And I don't think Daniel Marcos is able to handle Montel Jackson. So Montel, I feel pretty confident in the pick. I think he's live for the knockout too, but decision wouldn't blow my mind. I'll say Jackson definitely going to sting him with some heavy shots, but it'll be about how good is that Marcos chin. Something tells me Jackson could ground and pound him, but it's just in the back of my mind. I see Montel Jackson's decisions in the past. I'm like, he gets on top. He's willing to just ride out the round, work some elbows from half guard, little pepper and ground and pound, and just dominate the fight. Either way, Montel Jackson, confident pick for the win. Next fight on the card, featured fight. We got the OGs going after it. We got Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. I really have to make a pick on this one. Guys, I have to make a pick. Oh my. Oh my. I'm taking another sip of the coffee, man. I said to myself, this one right here, trickiest fight I've had to predict all year. I'm going to go D-Rod. Because Santiago Ponzinibbio got dropped multiple times by Carlston Harris. Carlston Harris is a quirky striker, awkward stand-up game, but I don't know, a bit herky-jerky with his hands. And seeing Ponzi get stung up like that wasn't a good look. And I feel like Carlston Harris has been looking washed as a motherfucker. Daniel Rodriguez, at the least, you can say he's coming off a win. He was in a competitive back and forth with Alex Morono, but he did do enough to win the fight. And then you look at the fight before, he got wrestled up by Kelvin Gastelum. But to be fair, Kelvin Gastelum made him fight at 185. He wasn't going to make weight. And then in the striking, it's not like Rodriguez looked bad. Then fight before that, Ian Gary puts him out. Fight before that, Neil Magny subs him up. Fight before that, he gets a testy decision against the Leech. I feel like D-Rod and Ponzinibbio both have like similar styles at this point, like boxing, pressure, mixing up combos, swinging for the fences and kind of hoping they land. But I'll say this, I think that D-Rod is a little better with straight shots. Ponzinibbio could hit him with some power hooks, but I don't know with Ponzi, guys. Oh my gosh. Both of these guys, like, holy shit. I see why the odds are essentially even, man. Rodriguez, he's a southpaw, and I like southpaws. I think southpaws for Ponzinibbio could pose problems. Definitely decent hands, solid jab to the body. His tight high guard is good, but I do think there's a hit ability with overhands. We see Rodriguez hit a lot, and he does kind of, I don't know, he telegraphs that left a bit. Like you can see him thinking about throwing it before it comes out. On the opposite side, Ponzinibbio's got pretty good boxing, rips good hooks with his pressure-based boxing game. Likes to get in close range and mix it up. Solid pressure against the cage, too. The chin getting tested big time last time against Carlston Harris, who's, kind of a bum at this point. But, hey, to be fair, you still got to give Ponzi the credit. He did stop him in the third round. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a split decision. It's going to come down to who does a little more. I think D-Rod could land a little more effectively with his punches. A little bit more punches landed for him. I feel like Ponzi's not going to take D-Rod down. So I expect a back and forth striking type of fight. My God, man. Flip a goddamn coin, bro. Some of the fights on this card are killing me. I feel like it's a weird card. This is a weird-ass card. I'm going to say Daniel Rodriguez lands more significant headshots on Ponzinibbio, wins some key striking exchanges while also getting hit himself, but his chin holds up. There's a chance that D-Rod could land a thudding shot that buckles Ponzinibbio and he could steal rounds with things like that. I would say I have a harder time seeing Ponzinibbio dropping D-Rod than I do D-Rod dropping Ponzinibbio. And I think that's why I'm going to favor D-Rod. Let's see what the people. 25% on D-Rod, 75 Ponzi? My God. 75% of the people on Ponzi? Dude, he hasn't looked good, though. Even his fight against Morono, he was losing, and then he got a comeback KO. Holland knocks him out. Salikov split. I mean, Salikov's impressive with his kicks. Carlston Harris, but every fight is so testy with Ponzi. Both of these guys, really, though. My God. I'm going to go D-Rod. I think he finds a way. feel like even though they're the same age, essentially, I feel like D-Rod is less washed than Ponzi. I feel like if you look at where Ponzi's peak was versus where he is today, whereas where D-Rod's peak was versus where he is today, it's like not that far off. So I'll say D-Rod has a little more oomph left in the tank. And I think he wins a close one, 29-28, split decision. D-Rod's a plus 100. Yeah, the odds are even for a reason. They should be even here. D-Rod is plus 100. Ponzinibbio minus 120. Over 2.5 rounds is minus 175. Over 2.5, I should say. Minus 175 actually makes sense. I think it could go over 2.5, but Ponzi could get rocked at some point. There's moments where he looks uncomfortable on the feet. I don't know, like his body is slowed down. I can see the age in the way that he moves now as opposed to his prime. Pretty much virtually identical in the stats, 6'1" to 6 foot, 74-inch reach of 73. Both guys 38. There's no, outstanding advantages on either side. I just think D-Rod might be able to land a bit more significant punches and pull off a hard-fought, close decision win. Will not surprise me if we get a split decision in this one, but I'll say D-Rod does get it done in close fashion. Let's keep running. Let's get to the co-main event. We got Reinier de Ridder versus Bo Nickal, the freaking big test for Bo Nickal now. I'm going Bo Nickal. I think the Bo show wins. Bo Nickal is a high caliber, I would say elite caliber athlete. He comes from an extremely high level wrestling base. It's not so much his wrestling in this fight, but it's his ability to anti-wrestle. I don't think Reinier de Ridder is taking Bo Nickal down. Reinier de Ridder has very good jiu-jitsu skills. He's a smothering grappler. He brings in a legit submission threat, but his striking kind of shit, man. Like he's very upright and tall, and he likes to grab inside of the clinch and get the single collar and like look to work for throws. I think Bo Nickal's going to shove him off, sting him with nice punches. I think Bo Nickal's hands are going to look a lot better than Reinier de Ridder's. I think Bo's going to land some pretty solid boxing combinations, I'd say. Bo Nickal last time beat Paul Craig. I'm not saying that de Ridder and Paul Craig are the same guy, but like there is similarities to the game. Both guys are really nasty on the ground, but like clunky on the feet, man. Bo Nickal's going to be faster and sharper in the stand-up. Bo Nickal's boxing is better. Bo Nickal's going to have an ability to control where the fight takes place. If Bo chooses to, he can drag this fight to the ground. But there's a chance like of a counter submission on the side of Reinier de Ridder, who's got high caliber jiu-jitsu. But my mentality is Bo can use wrestling defensively. De Ridder is not taking his ass down. And then we talk about the boxing. I mean, Reinier de Ridder getting stung up with some shots against GM3. I think Bo Nickal can crack de Ridder on the feet. I feel like it's going to look similar to the Paul Craig fight. As much as I'd hope to see Bo Nickal dust the Reinier de Ridder and really jump the hype train, I feel like he's still developing, man. Bo is in very much a developmental stage. He's 7-0 right now. The level of competition has jumped substantially. He's taking on a 19-2 Reinier de Ridder. But, like, okay, 2-0 in the UFC is what I'm going to hold the most merit to. He beat Kevin Holland. And let's keep it a buck. Kevin Holland is not good at wrestling, especially at 185 pounds. Those guys are just way too big for him. He has been a blown-up middleweight the entire time. He was a welterweight, so I should say, a blown-up welterweight the entire time, just not cutting the weight. And yeah, de Ridder takes him down and quickly subs him. He's not doing that to Bo Nickal. Back and forth with Gerald Meerschaert. He's not like, yeah, he pulled off the sub, was eventually able to get Meerschaert, but it's not like Meerschaert hasn't lost by sub before. We've seen Meerschaert sub a good amount. He subbed a fuckload of people, but he also has been submitted too. Undefeated Bo Nickal, I have to pick. I'm going to say the hands look quick. I'm going to say the takedown defense is good as expected. I say he dictates the pace of the fight, and I think he can take a unanimous decision. I'd like to see a knockout because at times de Ridder's chin is up a little high, and I think Bo could clap him with the big shot. But seeing the Paul Craig fight, Nickal is so willing to pick his shots and just kind of, work towards a decision. As much as it's not good for the hype train, I feel like Bo Nickal on the cards makes a damn lot of sense here. But I'm picking Bo Nickal pretty confidently. He's minus 280. He should beat Reinier de Ridder. De Ridder is plus 240 as a dog. The way de Ridder normally wins fights is his grappling threat, but also remember, a lot of the times it's his grappling from top position. Not being able to get in top position, it's like he's going to throw up a sub from the bottom. He might not even get there. He might pull guard against Bo Nickal. You see what I'm saying? Bo's just such a superior athlete, so much quicker, so much more explosive. I feel like Bo's going to beat him up. I'm saying Bo Nickal's hands look relatively sharp, and he's going to eat a lot of shit regardless of him winning this fight. Him winning this fight, not by a knockout, people are going to shit on him. It's minus 280 for Bo Nickal. We're near the Ritter plus 240. The over 1.5 minus 183. I think we're going over a round and a half. I think Bo Nickal with a tactical striking game plan fends off any clinch/grappling attempts of the Ritter. I think Nickal stings him with punches on the feet. Could be a bit of a sloppy boxing match, but Bo Nickal looks sharper. It's about this the Ritter's chin hold up. His losses are against, tough Russian monster and Malakin, who was, now fighting at heavyweight recently. So it's not like he's lost to cans. You know what I'm saying? It's 19-2. This is a massive fight on paper for Bo Nickal. He's 2-0 in the UFC. The Ritter's ranked number 13 in the world now. It's just, I think the Bo show gets a W done. Being able to stop takedowns and dictate the pace of the fight is key. And in a striking match, I think Bo Nickal is better than the Ritter. Regardless of Nickal's, limited MMA experience as opposed to the Ritter, who's got 21 pro fights, I still think Bo Nickal is definitely better at boxing, man. Like, the Ritter's clunky in the stand-up. He throws kind of slow punches, and a lot of the time, it's like with the mentality of punching to try and grapple. The Ritter, you know what, though? I'll tell you something. The Ritter leaves his chin out there. There is an opportunity for a counter shot KO for Bo Nickal. It's just, I worry if Bo lets it go. Like, does he let it go? I know he's gotten some knockouts. Like, he fucked up Val Woodburn pretty bad. He got a nice KO there. But I feel like Bo Nickal tactically outstriking the Ritter for 3 rounds is not a crazy result like he did with Craig. But then I hear this whisper. No, Bo is going to put the Ritter down. Holy shit. I don't know. I'm curious the prop betting side. I'm hoping Bo Nickal knocks him out. Like, there's a strong hope in me that Bo Nickal chins him. And the people are picking the Ritter, bro. I swear to God, it's just hate of Bo Nickal. I can't sell myself on the Ritter. His chance to win is a counter submission, but he doesn't have an ability to get this fight to the ground. He's going to pull guard and throw up a triangle. I don't see Bo getting caught in a stupid triangle like that. I think Nickal is able to keep the fight in a stand-up. I think Nickal is able to sting the Ritter with heavy punches. I think he could rock the Ritter at some point. I think he might knock the Ritter out because the Ritter, there's like this weird clunky clinch grab to his awkward overhand that he does, which there's like this moment where he's very available to be hit. It's just, I have my doubts on if Nickal is able to recognize it and sit on his punch at the perfect time and crack the Ritter. He might. And for his stock, damn sure, hope he does. But, it's hard to pick a Bo Nickal by knockout against a crafty veteran. But I will say I think Bo Nickal wins. So the pick is Bo Nickal for a W. I think he beats Reinier the Ritter and breaks into the top 15, and people are going to hate it. Next fight, main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe it up. We got Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I'm going to pick Cory Sandhagen to beat Deiveson Figueiredo in this one. I feel as though Figueiredo earned a lot of my respect, even in that Petr Yan fight. Figgy's one of the heaviest handed bantamweights now, too. Like, Figgy can sting with his straight shots. He's got a lot of power. Figueiredo's got a good kickboxing flow. He attacks the calf really well. Takedown defense is obviously very good. It's just, to me, 37-year-old Deiveson Figueiredo giving up a fuckload of height. Now, you can say, oh, but it's only a 2-inch reach. Yeah, but Cory Sandhagen uses range well, and he uses his kicks well. His teep skill set is very good. His strikes from the outside is good. His ability to move is good. And it's not like Cory Sandhagen hasn't shown an improvement to his wrestling game. He's actually developed pretty good offensive wrestling. Cory Sandhagen is 3-1 in his last 4. The losses against Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov's very good. And yes, he beat Cory Sandhagen. And looking at it now, like, there's definitely no surprise. I mean, most of us picked Nurmagomedov leading into it. But still, like, seeing Sandhagen go out there and lose, it's like, oh, shit. And then he lost to a Nurmagomedov who lost to Merab. But just how good is Merab? You understand? Cory Sandhagen's well-versed, man. He's a tactical kickboxer. He enters his kickboxing flow state really well. I think with the physicality advantage, I could see him getting on top of Deiveson Figueiredo at some point and working a little bit of ground and pound. In striking, I think he's going to look pretty clean. I think he strikes from long range relatively well here with Figueiredo. I think Figgy's got dangerous punches, though, and if it gets him boxing range, he could crack Cory Sandhagen. But there hasn't really been any moments in Cory's career where we've seen like a wilt in his chin. Cory eats a solid punch, and I think it's going to be hard for Figueiredo to kick, or excuse me, to hit Cory clean because Cory has good lateral movement, good distance management, picking shots from the outside really well. I would say Cory Sandhagen is a sharp and tactical kickboxer with an efficient MMA game. High fight IQ, an ability to wrestle when he needs to, an ability to tie up in the clinch when he needs to. A nice physicality advantage, 5'11" to 5'5", 6 inches in height is a positive difference maker for him. And I think that like Figueiredo getting touched up and stung with shots from the outside, but then he'll look to burst on the inside and throw some power shots. And he could hit Sandhagen with a few heavies. Like I could see Figgy landing some popping punches, but I think Sandhagen is able to move well, kind of stay on the bicycle and win a back and forth striking fight. I feel like he just does a bit more. Like I can see Figueiredo plodding and walking Sandhagen down, and Sandhagen attacking the legs, throwing the front kick, moving on the outside, making Figgy chase him. To me, this is very much Matador versus the Bull type of fight, because I think if you're Deiveson Figueiredo, you absolutely want this fight in the red zone, the close range, the boxing range, because from the outside, kick for kick, as much as I think Figueiredo's got decent leg kicks, Sandhagen's a lot sharper with his legs. Sandhagen's very mobile. So Figgy's going to have to kind of chase Sandhagen down, right? Then he's going to have to cut off the cage and use those moments. If he has Sandhagen backed up against the cage, he needs to take advantage of those moments by throwing big boxing combinations. To be honest with you, I think it would be most optimal if he worked the body a bit. Problem I have with that take is Deiveson Figueiredo is not a body snatcher. He likes to throw headshots. That's his game. And he hits hard. He dropped Marlon Vera. That deserves a lot of respect. But I think that Cory Sandhagen is just too smart, man. Too technically sound, too smart to get caught in a brawl with Figueiredo. Figueiredo needs big shots, and he's going to need a lot of them. I know he's got good one-shot power, but it's not like he's chinning dudes left and right at 135 pounds. Decisioned up Rob Font, used wrestling, subbed up Cody Garbrandt, right? Chopped up Marlon Vera and beat him, and then lost to Petr Yan, but still went the full 5 and demands respect for going 5 with Yan. Like, and he cracked even with Yan a bit, so you got to respect his game. But Yan is 5'4". You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, Sandhagen lost to Yan years ago, though. Back in 2021, he lost to Petr Yan. I think Cory Sandhagen looks sharp. I think Sandhagen might land some elbows. I also say deceptive skill set of Cory Sandhagen is his Muay Thai, the clinch work, the elbows on the inside, the ability to threaten with takedowns. Though I do think Deiveson Figueiredo's takedown defense will hold up if Sandhagen is looking to take him down. Could see him nabbing a couple of trips, but the threat of the takedown, if Sandhagen decides to mix things up, I think could only just make his striking and clinch work more effective. So I'm going to say Cory Sandhagen wins. I think a very tactical fight. I think Figueiredo's live to nab around off of Sandhagen. I'll say 49-46. Cory Sandhagen getting it done. I think Figgy has maybe a good third round, lands a nice big punch. We're Mystic Macking it, trying to chase the round. But I do see Figgy landing something of substance in the fight. I just think Sandhagen wins the majority of the matchup. Now, it's minus 450 for Sandhagen. The odds suck. At open, it was minus 235. I agree with the opening odds. Definitely think Sandhagen should be the favorite, but minus 450 is a bit of a stretch. Figueiredo plus 350 as a pretty big underdog. Over 4.5 rounds is minus 250 here. I do expect them to go over 4.5. You know, the doctor stoppage against Moreno, this is a diluted take. This is craziness. Cory Sandhagen got a doctor stoppage against Song Yadong. Is there a chance that Cory Sandhagen lands a nasty elbow, shuts the eye of Deiveson Figueiredo, and gets a doctor stoppage? Because I think most likely it's decision for Sandhagen or it's a doctor stoppage. Like, I don't see him knocking Figueiredo out. I don't see him submitting Figueiredo. And on the opposite side, I don't see Figueiredo knocking Sandhagen out. And I don't see Figueiredo subbing Sandhagen either. I don't think he's big enough. I think he's too small. At 135, 5'5" to 5'11", Sandhagen's not getting bullied on the mat, bro. Don't look at the Aljo fight years ago. His skill set has improved substantially since that point, and Sandhagen has developed a solid grappling game. So I'm going to say Cory Sandhagen, unanimous decision, 4 rounds to 1. He defeats Deiveson Figueiredo, the God of War, and I think that Sandman puts himself back in that title picture, to be honest with you. I mean, it would be fresh blood for Marab if it's not Pantoja jumping out. I thought that Figueiredo was going to consider doing the Pantoja fight down at 25, but I'm glad he didn't, because he ain't going to make the weight. You got to kill himself to make 125. I don't think it's worth it, even for the paycheck. I think better to fight in this fight night main event against a dangerous Cory Sandhagen with the hope of maybe somehow pulling out a win. and, taking a fight against an, top contender, or maybe, an injury, rushes them into a title fight on short notice, which I don't think is likely, but, just more talking points. I'm going to say Cory Sandhagen unanimous decision. That is the prediction for the main event of UFC Des Moines. We're in Iowa for this one. Expect some weird shit in Iowa. I don't know. This card, certain cards, man, they just have this feeling about them that we're going to see something weird, right? With Ponzinibbio and D-Rod as the featured fight of the night, it tells me something strange is going to happen, right? Gaston Bolaños, the favorite over Quang with his one-dimensional game. Dontel Mays and Thomas Petersen. Trust me. Oh, Jeremy Stevens and a one-off UFC contract coming to fight Mason Jones. Miesha Tate still fighting, right? Rainer DeRitter and Bo Nickal. Like this, I just have a weird feeling about this card. I think it's going to be some crazy outcomes, some strange results. But I do think, regardless of what happens on the undercard, in the main event, the sensible outcome is the most likely. And I think that is Cory Sandhagen to win by a unanimous decision, 49-46. He beats Davis and Figueiredo and keeps his contender dreams alive, because Cory Sandhagen is salivating at the bit for a chance to get a shot against Merab, because that would be a pretty cool matchup with Sandhagen's long-range striking and Merab's relentless wrestling. We shall see how 2025 unfolds. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Definitely smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let me know in the comments. What do you think of the picks? What do you think, folks? Do I got some crazy ones? Are you in alignment with me? I think the masses are going to be on Sandhagen. But if you're on Figueiredo, let me know and why, because I want to hear from you. I do hope you guys love the breakdown, because I did. I love breaking these fights down. I'm feeling excited for this card, even though I don't think it is as stacked as the Kansas City fight night. I still think it's going to be pretty fun come Saturday. So make sure you keep it locked in throughout the week with the daily content. Thank you guys for 47,000 subscribers as well. We hit that goal on the Fight Companion yesterday, and I feel very blessed, man. So shout out to the people that enjoy the content. I love you all. Share the video if you haven't, if you got a friend that might like the MMA content, and also make sure you turn on the post notifications so you don't miss a video. W's in the comments if you got nothing to say. That's it for me. Much love, my people. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.